In a Martian city, a mysterious man calling himself Joker hijacks a shipment of nectar, a drug that means need to function. Elsewhere in the city, Rouge serves as an assistant to famous singer Sarah Fitzgerald to determine if the latter is actually a member of the Immortal Nine, whom she is tasked to kill. After a concert, Rouge updates Naomi, who communicates indirectly through a mechanical bird. The two agents are trying to determine if Sarah is one of the 9 individuals with the true name Viola. Later that night, the singer Sarah, who was believed to be human, injects herself with nectar using a concealed port on her body, revealing herself as a Neen. Suddenly, a person in a red mesh suit, known as the Red Gladiator, appears and attempts to attack Sarah. But some security guards arrive and shoot the red mesh suit, which suddenly runs and jumps out of the building. The mechanical bird sees all this, confirming Sarah is indeed Viola of the Immortal Nine. Sadly, the bird was destroyed by Jylan. Following this incident, Sarah informs Jylan, who reveals that the mission to seize the nectar shipment failed because Red Gladiator ruined it. Jylan warns Viola that Red Gladiator is likely the culprit behind the deaths of 2 other of their members. Jylan wonders if anyone unfamiliar approached her recently. Viola remembers picking up Rouge from the alley and having her work for her. So when Viola summons Rouge to meet, the latter already knows the truth. The Red Gladiator suddenly shows up and disposes of Rouge, much to Viola's dismay. This is actually Jylan, as Viola now remembers about his ability to mimic, and also the one who attacked her at the top of the building. Viola was questioned about his motives. Jylan explains that he intended to push Viola to take action against the enemy who was investigating them. Viola comments that Rouge is not the Red Gladiator, so he doesn't need him to kill her. But Jylan thinks Rouge is an agent of Alethea, considering she knew her real name. Suddenly, something red glowed underneath, and the real Red Gladiator pops up, attacking them. The Red Gladiator clashes with Jylan, who does not give her a good fight. Jylan takes his leave, entrusting to Viola that she can kill the Red Gladiator. Before they fight, Viola asks her name. The Red Gladiator says Metallic Rouge. Viola transforms into a Mech Gladiator, primarily in shades of purple, and her real name is Purgatory Viola. The 2 metallic androids then engage in an intense battle. In the midst of the battle, Viola cries out that all she wanted was happiness and the freedom to sing. She questions why she should be treated any differently from a human. Adding to her anger, Viola reveals that 2 of her friends, fellow members of the Immortal Nine, had already fallen victim to Rouge's attacks. Despite Viola's powerful onslaught nearly causing Rouge to melt, she uses her superior agility just in time to leap behind her adversary and extract her heart. This heart or core resembles a glass ball with colorful stripes and a barcode. With Viola eliminated, Rouge and Naomi head off to their next mission. They have successfully eliminated 3 out of the 9 dangerous Neens. Guardianship Bureau investigator Ash and his partner, Noid, travel to Mars to investigate a series of murders that Rouge apparently committed. Meanwhile, Rouge and Naomi board a bus toward the Martian city of Wellstown. Naomi is telling a couple of kids, Miguel and Emily, about the history of some wars on Mars in which some friendly aliens helped humans fight against the hostile aliens. Humans developed the strongest weapon called Neens to help fight, and you can tell them apart as they have scars over their faces. Also, they abide by the Asimov's laws that they cannot hurt or kill humans. Reporter Jill befriends Naomi since the latter proclaims herself as a history geek, and Jill is currently doing research on the history of Neens since they are being discriminated against. Rouge notices armored vehicles hired by Viola's wealthy ex-boyfriend to capture Rouge, and Naomi is uncertain about their intentions, thinking they might be military enthusiasts. The military opens fire on the bus, forcing it to stop. The mercenaries send a virtual message, demanding Rouge. Some passengers consider handing Rouge over, but an elderly woman thinks they'll be in danger either way. Mercenaries board, and like Rouge, Huey, and Jill combat them. During the chaos, the elderly woman takes control of the bus, driving toward a forest to shake off the mercenaries. At the same time, Dr. Afdal tends to Huey's wound. In the forest, the driver worries about fixing the bus. Naomi suggests a nearby military facility with spare parts. The driver hands Naomi an RG-200 cable and asks her to find one at the establishment. Rouge insists on joining, but Naomi instructs her to stay and protect the passengers. Meanwhile, Rouge notices Jill talking to the kids, who took a snapshot of the mercenaries' vehicle. From the photo, Jill identifies the mercenaries as working for Soa Sons of Ares, possibly hired by someone. Later, Naomi and the bus driver return with the tool to find Emily and Rouge missing. Meanwhile, Rouge and Emily explore the forest and come across an archaeologist named Eden, stumbling upon Cylinder Head, the usurper's war machine. Emily gets a closer look at Cylinder Head and accidentally activates it, causing it to awaken and chase them. While they were running, the mercenaries arrived behind them and noticed the Cylinder Head following. They immediately fire, but their attacks prove futile due to an invisible barrier protecting Cylinder Head. The war machine eliminates the mercenaries, destroying every tank. Left with no choice, Rouge transforms into her red gladiator form. Emily and Eden arrive on time in the bus, which is already fixed by the bus driver. The elderly woman starts the bus, attempting to escape. Cylinder Head continues the chase, but Rouge arrives to protect them. Rouge fiercely fights the Cylinder Head with all her power. The Cylinder Head captures her, but she manages to get away and destroy one of the legs. Then she slid down and grabbed the other leg, throwing it to another Cylinder Head who was chasing the bus. In the end, Rouge emerges victorious. Naomi confronts the man who returned to the bus with Emily. Fortunately, the elderly woman and others find Rouge. Rouge boards the bus, eavesdropping on Emily's conversation with her brother. Rouge reveals she has an older brother, empathizing with Emily's pain. She gives Emily a chocolate bar, and Naomi appreciates Rouge's maturity. Now continuing their journey to Weltstown. Arriving in Weltstown, Naomi and Rouge get off the bus, and Rouge waves goodbye to Jill they met along the way. Afterwards, Rouge and Naomi hand over Viola's core to their handler. In return, Naomi received a new mechanical bird, which she calls her outside persona, Bird Number 2. Naomi contacts Ministry of Truth Vice Director Jean, who gives the duo their next mission. Rouge wonders what Jean will say, as she thinks they've completed their mission perfectly, but Naomi says he expects more from them and also to look after Rouge. Their next mission is to find out if an Immortal 9 is hiding and disguising within this Welstown's Neen settlement. They need to infiltrate it to continue investigating. Later, as Naomi is enjoying her delicious crab-like meat, Rouge panicked over the fact that all her chocolate bars are gone. Naomi revealed she gave her chocolates to the kids after they alighted the bus. Rouge gets upset as she wants to go and buy more, and Naomi tells her she can't. That is when Rouge thought she was free because Jill told her so. Naomi shoots her down, saying that she is just a tool for the Ministry of Truth. If she has free will, she is a failure as an agent. Mad Rouge storms off. She even throws the transponder onto the ground, calling Naomi stupid. Then she sees the several guards discriminating against a young Neen named Rion. Rouge does not like the idea that Neens are tools or equipment. She gave the guards a beatdown. That is until Dr. Afdal shows up and explains to the guards that the boy and Rouge are his assistants. The soldiers let it slide and let them into the reservation since Dr. Afdal is on call to treat some Neens. Afterwards, Rouge shocked sees how bad the living conditions the Neens have to deal with. The doctor came to treat Dahlia. Even though Afdal saves Dahlia, it is just a temporary solution, and she will die soon. He notes how humans have been making Neens work to the bone on the harsh conditions of Venus. Soon, Rouge is brought to see Yuval, who heads a movement called the Council of Free Neens, or CFN. Yuval notes they are fighting for autonomy, but humans won't grant it because of the code embedded inside Neens. They just want to live freely. He tells her that Alter is actually a real rebel group of Neens that use forces against humans. But what Yuval wants is not Rouge's firepower, but her free will. Without that code, Rouge can mingle freely with humans, and thus her existence has meaning. This gives them hope, although Rouge doesn't have to give her answer now. Dahlia dies and is soon discarded. As Rouge leaves and thinks of Yuval's words, soon she is told Yuval wants to see her alone. Then she finds his lifeless body. Naomi eventually spotted her using her new bird and was surprised she made it in. However, she was shocked to see Yuval's body. A few Neens nearby promptly arrived on the scene, causing her to be the top suspect. But some suggest keeping this a secret because they know humans will meddle if they find out. In response, the police send a force to occupy the settlement while an unknown aircraft arrives at Wellstown. The airship is carrying a traveling carnival as it lands in the city. Rouge is held by the CFN on suspicion of killing Yuval. Naomi makes contact and tells her the police are here, and it doesn't matter who did it since the police are using this excuse to crush CFN. However, Rouge is planning to stay, and is sure that Phantom Verd will show himself. Naomi says she wants to help Rouge of her free will, saying she isn't a tool of Alethea, and neither is she. In response, Rouge accepts Naomi's assistance. As the CFN interrogates Rouge, the Wellstown security force assaults the building, killing or arresting any CFN members they find. Rouge is interrogated by Dumas, and because she doesn't say much, they suspect her even though they have no proof, even accusing her of working with alters. When the police storm in, Dumas tries to use this to his advantage. Because Rouge breaks out of her chains, he claims she is going to kill them. The Neens gang up on her, but with the police here, Rouge defeats the police and lets them all escape. Then she stumbles into Rion, who has orders to take her back. Meanwhile, Naomi takes advantage of Ash's authority to enter the settlement. He follows her for a while, but decides to leave when the going gets tough. Rouge accuses Rion of being the one who killed Yuval. He denies and claims he doesn't want to see him suffer. Suddenly, Rion stabs her with a serum, making her see visions of the targets she killed. Rouge starts to freak out as she feels guilt about killing Viola and the others. However, she manages to fight and snap out of it. Out of nowhere, Dr. Afdal appears, and actually, he is the one who killed Javel. Rouge believes he is the informant, but Rion continues to cover him that he isn't the villain. Rion wants to be free with him, but Dr. Afdal throws him the bad news that is just an illusion before killing him off. Nobody is free, Neens or humans, and he reveals himself to be Phantom Verd. Rouge and Afdal transform into their gladiator form and fight. Meanwhile, Naomi encounters Dumas. However, Dumas is actually Jylen in disguise, and Noam tries to fight him, but she only has martial arts and guns. Jylen then decides to spare Naomi before withdrawing. As for the fight, Rouge is initially at a disadvantage due to a combination of being drugged by Rion and impaired by the nerve gas Afdal's body produces. It was a tricky one, as Phantom Verd uses hallucinogenic gas to make it harder for Rouge to find the real Phantom. However, she uses a blast to disperse the gas, allowing her to kill Phantom Verd and retrieve his core. Rouge then falls unconscious as a number of carnival members begin to march on the gates to the Neen settlement. After Rouge took down Phantom Verd, Naomi wondered where Rouge went. Out of nowhere, Eden appears to claim he has seen Rouge and brings Naomi to a nearby touring circus. Captured by the carnival, Rouge has her mind probed by their leader, the Puppet Master, and relives memories of her past with Jean, who instructed her to hunt down the Immortal Nine as revenge for them killing his father and her creator, Roy Junghart. However, she begins having second thoughts since both Viola and Afdal both showed remorse for their actions. We know that the Puppet Master tries to get into Rouge's mind to learn about Code Eve. When Rouge becomes aware, the puppeteer claims he is saving her from being controlled. The Puppet Master then lets her go, stating that he wants her to find her own freedom. Meanwhile, Naomi teams up with Eden to infiltrate the Carnival's airship before parting ways. She discovers that the Carnival possesses usurper technology and recovers Phantom Verd's core before reuniting with Rouge. However, they are then attacked by Puppet Master's lieutenant, Opera, who demands Verd's core back. Naomi wants to save Rouge this time, but of course, Opera is more powerful and gives Naomi a beating. Thankfully, before she can choke Naomi to death, Rouge wakes up and gives her an elbow crush. Opera attacks again, but Rouge easily dodges it and gives him a force punch. Then Opera summons a bunch of cylinder heads, and this is when Rouge transforms and beats one of them. But of course, this is not enough, and they get surrounded. Fortunately, an unknown member of the Immortal Nine arrives and helps the duo by holding off the Carnival's forces, allowing them to escape the airship. The Carnival's ship takes off to its next destination, with Opera reporting about Phantom Verd's core being stolen, but the puppeteer notes that this was fated to happen. The puppeteer is confident that he and Rouge will meet again. Afterward, Rouge and Naomi finally make up for their earlier fight, while the Immortal Nine member, revealed to be Eden, watches them from afar. Meanwhile, Jean meets his superior, Chief Chow, who is aware of the unauthorized mission to kill the Immortal Nine, but turns a blind eye and warns him of a Bureau spy within the Ministry. With the job on Mars done, Rouge and Naomi board a ship back to Earth, taking the opportunity to relax and befriend their cabin neighbors, twins Ace and Alice. Also on board the ship is Ash, and he is not pleased his mission ended so quickly and he is being recalled back to headquarters. Suddenly, a murder happens right before his eyes. Although the culprit is apprehended, he claims he was at the casino all day, and there is footage proof. How can one person be in two different places? Then another murder happens, but this time the witness claims the killer looks exactly like her friend. However, she finds the killer had a really nasty smile. The captain announced that all passengers have orders to remain in their rooms for their safety. Meanwhile, Naomi and Rouge don't want to be cooped up, but soon Ash sees Naomi to arrest her. Well, there is footage showing she killed someone. Of course Ash knows she isn't the killer, and he just arrested her for her safety. Rouge gets separated from Naomi for a while and goes back to their room. While waiting, the mechanical bird of Naomi appears from her backpack. Naomi believes that Jylin was the one who committed the murder. However, Naomi doesn't want to do anything since they have orders to not stand out or cause a scene. Rouge doesn't like that idea since she doesn't like how Naomi is receiving accusations for something she didn't do. Noid calls Ash to show a live footage camera that looks like Naomi is going to kill a sleeping senior citizen. Naomi, witnessing this, burst out of the room and ran. She reported this to Rouge that someone disguised as her at the library. The two meet up at the library and check on the old lady. Upon checking her, she is still alive and not harmed. Meanwhile, Ash was exhausted from running, and Noid runs up to him and says there's another murder. However, Ash notices the nasty smile and draws his gun, but Noid is fast and stabbed him. Rouge and Naomi arrive at the scene, and the killer transforms into Rouge and runs. Naomi asks for help for Ash. Then Ash frees Naomi to go after the culprit, and she steals his gun too. Naomi caught up with the two Rouges fighting at the top of the swimming pool. Naomi then asks them a math question. Without any hesitation, she shoots who answers the correct one, falling into the pool. However, the fake Rouge kicked Naomi and Rouge into the pool, then escaped. Naomi takes charge of the investigation and deduces that since Jylin cannot alter his weight, so they round up everyone on the ship with that weight. Rouge will then punch them one by one because she knows that Jylin can stand with her punch. Then he punched a man, and they were all shocked by the force of the punch. Rouge continued to punch one by one until she landed on the big dog. However, the dog is not safe from Rouge and kicks it. But then the dog turns out to be Jylin. After being discovered, Rouge and Jylin both transform into their combat forms. Then Jylin cut a big hole, and a fight ensues outside the ship during which he reveals that he killed her creator, Roy Younghart. Both of them fight intensely, and no one is backing out. However, Rouge managed to avoid the attack, and while she managed to chop off Jylin's legs before she threw him off the ship, he appears to burn up in Earth's atmosphere. Unbeknownst to Rouge, however, Ash learns of her true identity after witnessing her transform. Later, Rouge reunites with Naomi, but the latter places her under arrest, revealing she is the Bureau spy. A brief history about the Venus Project, in which the terraforming of the planet and moving it into the same orbit as Earth via black holes. This resulted in the birth of many needs. However, the goal behind this new habitable space remains a mystery. Naomi sees Jean, who was relieved from his position and placed under house arrest. He knew Naomi was the one who leaked information, and knowing the risks, he also welcomed her as his subordinate and paired Rouge with her. Then they talk about the puppeteer whom they've been investigating, which has something to do with the Venus Project and black holes, which could complicate things. Naomi notes the puppeteer tried to mess with Rouge's memories, and believing Jean is hiding something, Rouge will be transferred to the Protection Bureau for punishment. She then attends a meeting with Chow and Bureau Director Khan, where she reveals that she was given authority over Rouge's fate. Meanwhile, Ash is not pleased he has been taken off the Roy Younghart case, so he is going to take things into his own hands. We see a familiar figure that we saw last time. Jill, the photographer, gave Rouge the idea that she was free. She breaks Rouge out before she is on the verge of not having enough nectar. She then brings her to a room where Neens who are considered dangerous are stored to be disposed of later. Jill reveals herself from the Immortal Nine and a member of the Neen terrorist organization, Alter. Jill's allegiance is to freeing the Neens, and she wants Rouge to join her side. Jill claims Rouge's ability can do it. Jill tells Rouge about Jean being fired and all, but Rouge is reluctant to believe. Suddenly, the intruder alarm goes off, thanks to Investigator Ash, who enters the facility without permission. Jill and Rouge are helped by Neen security personnel enter the gates, but they encounter 2 human security guards. Jill immediately killed them, causing Neen security personnel to die because of the Asimov code. Neens must not harm humans. Neens must not ignore humans in danger. Rouge escapes herself, so Jill transforms to fight other cyborg guards while posing a question for Rouge. Despite being so powerful, why are they slaves to humans? Jill takes down some of the cyborg guards, and Rouge is attacked by the 2 of them. But suddenly she is rescued by the Immortal Nine member, Double-Headed Aircos. Rouge and Aircos then escape while Jill also takes his leave. Rouge and Aircos are found by Ash and Noid, who continue their investigation despite being dismissed. Aircos, who is revealed to be both Ace and Alice, who have identity disorder. Ash brings them back to his place so Alice could explain further. Unlike the rest in Immortal Nine, they just want to live peacefully. Since they specialize in gathering information, they manage to survive and escape from Jill. Noticing many of the Immortal Nine were starting to get killed, they approached Rouge. Alice is confused that Rouge never questions Jen's orders to hunt down Immortal Nine. Rouge doesn't believe Jen's orders are bad. Ash also explains he has been investigating Immortal Nine for killing Roy Younghart. They have footage that Rouge is the suspect, although she denies it is her and thinks it is Jylan who just copied her. As Jean goes to investigate a security breach at his family home, he is observed by a girl with blue-green hair. Elsewhere, Jylan is revealed to be alive and found by the Immortal Nine member Grafan. As Jean arrives at his home, pressing certain piano keys reveals a secret underground path. He runs into Rouge, Ash, and Noid, who are investigating Roy Younghart's death. Jean leads them into a hidden basement housing recordings of Roy's memories, where they learn that Rouge was actually created by Roy's assistant, Jean's mother, Eva Christella, who died 17 years ago. She also developed a program called Code Eve, which eliminates Asimov's laws, and embedded it in Rouge and the Immortal Nine. Jean then reveals that it was Roy's will that Rouge be sent after the Immortal Nine to prevent them from freeing Neens, which could result in mass chaos. As Rouge ponders this dilemma, she is confronted by the blue-haired girl, who transforms to fight Rouge. She attacked her, but Rouge was just avoiding his attack. The blue-haired girl asks her why she doesn't want to transform. Rouge responds that she does not want to fight. She then introduces herself as Cyan, Rouge's younger sister, and challenges her but leaves after Rouge refuses to fight. Meanwhile, Alter forces, led by Jill and Grafan, attack the Ministry of Truth to retrieve the cores of the slain Immortal Nine members. Jill and Grafan, who show his power to eliminate one of the guards by closing his hand. Both of them easily enter the facility and kill whoever is next to them. They finally arrive at Core's vault, where they are confronted by Viola's boyfriend. He tells them that Viola is just for him, but Grafan uses his power again to crush his dream. Then they retrieve the cores of the slain Immortal Nine members. Jean's group arrives to help, and Rouge immediately jumps out of ship to face them. Jill notes how Code Eve will free all Neens from Asimov code, and Rouge is the final key to decode it. She then hereby declares war on humanity. Meanwhile, the ships Noid and Ash are on crash. While defending themselves, Noid thought fellow Neens had arrived for help, but he gets shot by human forces. The human guard asks if the person who got shot is human. Ash answers them, he is Neen. Ash didn't leave Noid's side when the guard invited him. Before dying, Noid tells him to take care of himself, and he forgot that he is Neen while he was with him. Rouge faces Jill and Groffon, disagreeing with their methods, and is soon joined by Eden, who introduces himself as Jet Black Noir. However, as Rouge and Noir recommence the battle, Ercos arrives while Cyan watches from nearby. Ercos has seemingly sided with Alter and attacked Rouge. Jean attempts to aid her, but he is pushed back by Groffon. Both of them greet each other for not seeing each other for a long time. Jean then fires at him, but his bullet suddenly stops by Groffon. Then he knocked him out with his Mysterio's power and took him hostage. He wants Rouge to give up her core for his safety. However, Eden attempts to intervene, but Jill pursues him and stabs him, removing his core and returning him to human form. Alter then withdraws after giving Rouge an ultimatum, her core for Jean. Rouge attempts to give chase, but Cyan drops in at the right time to fight her. The two clash with each other, but they are evenly matched. Naomi then calls Rouge and has an idea to defeat Cyan. Rouge hesitantly follows Naomi's advice to synchronize with Cyan, causing a pulse that neutralizes their combat forms. Naomi knew their identical frequencies when their gladiator mode was activated. As expected, we know that Eden survived as Ash says goodbye to his Neen assistant, while Cyan is still in a coma. Naomi wants Rouge to come with her because it's time to reveal the truth. Naomi brings Rouge to the alien mothership, and Naomi isn't actually human, but a contact Neen the visitors creates to interact with humans. Naomi takes Rouge to meet the visitors, who reveal that they seek a new homeworld, giving humanity their technology in return for using the Neens to terraform Venus and to fight off their enemies, the usurpers. Meanwhile, Alter heads for Venus, where the Carnival has landed, and usurper forces invade from the outer solar system. While the visitors want Rouge to stay in isolation, Naomi convinces them to let her join the fight, prompting Rouge to forgive Naomi for her deceptions. After punching her, Rouge lets Naomi stay with her, because they're going to Venus to solve this mess. Eden then arrives with Ash in his private spaceship and offers to take Rouge and Naomi to Venus. Aboard Eden's ship on the way to Venus, Naomi is going to show the gang the cool weapon she brought to fight Alters. Surprisingly, Cyan was inside, but Naomi got really upset when Cyan revealed that she threw the ultimate weapon. However, Cyan's personality has completely changed, with her now behaving like a child and wanting to be sisters with Rouge. Later, Cyan reveals that she is a clone of Rouge that the Puppet Master created and that she only tried to kill her because a mysterious voice ordered her to. Rouge chooses to accept Cyan as she is, and the two girls begin to develop a sisterly bond, with her teaching the latter that she can make her own decisions. Afterwards, Naomi is enticing Cyan to take a bath. Cyan refuses to do it even though Rouge has done it already. Eventually, Cyan agrees to do so because Ash will give him ice cream after the bath. He is good with kids because he was once a father. He regrets not getting to know Noid better and only realizes the value when you lose something. The same for Eden. He once considered the Immortal Nine to be his family, but now is fighting against them because of regrets. Making his lover's dream come true is the least he could do to atone. Meanwhile, Alter lands on Venus and is welcomed by the Carnival. The Immortal Nine members then attend a family meal with Jean, where they reveal their intentions to make him the leader of humanity after the Neens are freed. Afterwards, Jean watches on as the Puppet Master extracts the Code Eve fragments from them. As Rouge's group approaches Venus, they detect a barrage of missiles being fired towards their ship. Thanks to the shields, the ship manages to get by and crash into the base of the enemy. Everyone is safe, and Naomi orders them to leave immediately because the Alters and the Puppet Master must know they are already here. Meanwhile, Jill notes this must be done well as a new world is about to be born. The puppeteer claims he knows Eva well since he worked under her before. Then, putting up a simple play, he explains Code Eve is the last hope, Code Eve behind for Neens, and hid it within the 9 proto-Neens. She hopes it would free them, but that love cost her life. Eva tried to cut the strings of the Asimov code, the reason she created Rouge. However, Jean decided to kill off the Immortal Nine in darkness, though he did try to talk to them once before, although Jill rejected his actions because she can't truly trust humans. Then she went to kill Roy since he knew too much about them and had Jylen keep an eye on things. Upon entering the base, The group split is forcefully with Rouge and Naomi together and Eden and Ash with Cyan. Jean further cautions Jill that even if the code does come off, not all Neens will come to her. She reveals this planet has a plant that produces Neens and nectar, and the production will continue to be churned out for the next few decades. She can simply keep making new allies here and fighting them. It is proof they have lived. Jean believes she is only helping the usurpers, but she calls it opportunism. Elsewhere, Cyan hears the mysterious voice again and begins following its directions as Ash gives chase while Eden faces Grauphon, who gives him back his core so that they can fight fairly. The voice is revealed to be the puppet master controlling Cyan, and he manages to escape with her, though not before Ash sees him unmasked. Back with Rouge and Naomi, run into Jean. However, Rouge punches him, and not surprising, he is Jylen in disguise. Naomi says they will not be tricked over and over again, but Jylen is not here to fight them, but merely bring them to the next stage. Meanwhile, Grauphon and Eden fight. The two warriors clashed with fierce determination, each striking a testament to their will to win. Grauphon then squeezes Eden with his power, but he forms a black ball, depletes his force, and immediately strikes him, but Grauphon defends himself. Eden then struck again, this time stabbing Grauphon, but he cast a powerful spell that caused a massive explosion between them. Eden eventually survives but is wounded. Grauphon's final plea is to save Jill before dying. Jean manages to convince Alice to help him. They soon meet up with Eden to seek his help too. Ash also comes by, as he says he has discovered the person behind the puppeteer's mask. Speaking of him, he is psyching up Cyan to play her role. Actually, she has no script to follow, and her job is to bring the curtain down. Meanwhile, Naomi and Rouge entered the reactor area as Jylen came along. Of course, Jill shows up and fights Jylen, but she swiftly kills him, saying she has always hated him. Jill gives Rouge her last chance to join their side. More accurately, sacrifice her core that contains an irreversible decryption code that will set all the Neens free. But Rouge turns down the offer. Jill has no option but to fight her and get the core for herself. Their ideals continue to clash, so Jill hopes Rouge has no regrets when she willingly chose to die. The two continue to clash, and Jill stabs through her heart and takes her core. After Jill left, Rouge asks for help from Naomi, but she just ran away. She bumps into Jylen, who is unsurprisingly not dead. He tells Naomi where the control room is since he knows her intentions are to blow up the entire place should everything fail. He doesn't see his actions as betrayal and merely wants to do as he pleases till he dies. So as Naomi starts her inputting, suddenly she has a change of heart, and she finds herself unable to abandon Rouge and rushes back to her, apologizing and all. She thinks she is already broken for violating orders. Naomi then transferred her own core into her to restore her power. Rouge and Naomi then once again confront Jill and the puppet master while Jean and Eden try to stop Code Eve from transmitting. Ash, Ace, and Alice come to Rouge and Naomi's aid, and Ash exposes the puppet master's true identity as none other than Rouge's creator, Roy Junghart. Roy reveals his current body is a Neen clone into which he transferred his consciousness. Jill accuses this Roy of being fake, but his brain is real. Before his previous self was killed, he cloned himself and uploaded all his memories from the library bank. Jill remembers ordering a comrade to watch and kill him, but Roy laughs it off, and it never happened. Because the one who killed him was himself. He further reveals that he manipulated the Immortal Nine's memories and actions as part of his master plan for Neens to surpass humans. Jill refuses to believe it all and attacks him, seemingly killing him. However, he transfers his consciousness into Cyan's body and slays Sylvia in return. Before dying, she begged Rouge to protect the future of Neens. Now, all that is left is Rouge. Rouge then faces Roy, as the latter notes how Rouge became more human than Immortal Nine, who were before her. After Roy discovered the data Eva left behind, he left clues for Junghart so as to have him go after Immortal Nine's IDs and observe Rouge's growth. Alice tries to help but instantly pushes back. With Rouge losing, Naomi decides to sacrifice herself by transferring her consciousness into Rouge, becoming her operating system, and upgrading her battle mode. With new form, Rouge deflected the attack and proceeded to strike him, almost hitting his face. But Roy didn't back down and unleashed swords that flew towards Rouge, but she deflected all the attack. Rouge then tries to finish him in one strike, but Roy didn't back down and defend himself. At this point, Cyan tries to resist Roy, and this allows Rouge to defeat him, although this also fatally wounds Cyan. Roy is not willing to admit defeat since he views Jean as his final hope. However, his son assures him he will never be like him. Roy curses he is always alone, so Jean tells him being alone suits him best. Cyan and Rouge manage to affirm their sisterhood in her final moments. Rouge decides to free the Neens, but Opera, who is revealed to be an usurper in disguise, hacks Code Eve to turn the Neens against humanity. Fortunately, Jean already neutralized her sabotage, and the program works as intended, prompting Opera to flee. Afterward, as the world adjusts to the freed Neens, Rouge and Naomi set out to hunt down Opera. Thank you for watching till the end, and please don't forget to subscribe. See you next time and peace out.